Every single day, I think about ways to do a video for you guys. I try to do at least one video a day for you guys. Today, I was pretty busy, so I could not do a live stream, but I will be doing one tomorrow, Saturday. Anyway, so today, as I was doing what I was occupied with, I thought to myself, what should I do a video on today? And there's actually a lot of things that I want to talk about. Well, not a whole lot, but a number of things that I would like to talk to you guys about. Something did come to mind, and that is Costco. That's right, everybody, Costco. Costco is a big box store in the United States. It's one of those stores that you need a membership to shop in. It's not that expensive. It's really not expensive at all, actually. But it's a store that's very popular with older folks, boomers. Not very popular amongst millennials, although you do see those. But for the most part, you're looking at boomers and elderly folks shopping in Costco. The cool thing about Costco is that after you're done shopping, they have a little food court in the end, and you can get some pizza, you can get a hot dog. And the other great thing about Costco is that you can buy a lot of things in bulk. And this is really, I think, the biggest reason why people shop at Costco is so that they can get that big box full of whatever product they want to get. So instead of going to the store and buying one jug of milk, you can go to Costco and you can buy a box with 2 jugs of milk. Instead of getting a little bag of spinach, you can go to Costco and get a big old bag of spinach. Instead of getting a little bag of potatoes, you can go to Costco and get a gigantic bag of potatoes or potato chips and all that stuff. Costco has been known for its great service, and I've been going to Costco pretty much my entire life. Uh, and when you go to Costco, it's not like going to a normal grocery store where they bag your groceries. In Costco, they put your stuff in boxes. And the reason why they put your stuff in boxes is because you're buying a lot of stuff that's big. And so they put it in boxes, and that way you just put the boxes in the back of your vehicle and you just carry it into your house. And when you go to Costco, normally they ask you, do you want boxes? And of course, you say yes, because you just bought a bunch of big cans of tomato sauce, and you're not just going to put a bunch of cans of tomato sauce separately in your vehicle because they're going to be rolling all over the place as you're driving, right? You can't put a plastic container of Prego tomato sauce in the back of your car and expect it to not roll around. So, of course, you want boxes. And in 2020, even during the pandemic, you went to Costco and they would say, "Do you want boxes?" Of course, I want boxes. Okay. Recently, as of 2021, it seems as though this policy is no more. So I went to Costco a number of months ago, and the lady said, actually, almost had a brain glitch there. The lady didn't mention boxes. She just started putting the stuff in the freaking grocery cart. Like, hey, I'm not going to put this can of tomatoes in the trunk of a car because it's going to be rolling all over the place. And plus, I bought a lot of stuff, and you're putting imagine you bought all this stuff, right? Cans of tomato sauce, a box of jugs of milk. You got a big old bag of potato chips, whatever, tortilla chips, whatever. She's putting all this stuff separately in the grocery cart. I'm thinking, all these cans, all these little containers of fruit, you're putting it all separately. Like, it's a pain in the ass for me to put this stuff from my car into the house. And so I'm thinking, what, and I'm thinking to myself, it's part of Costco's policy that they put stuff in boxes, and she's not putting anything in boxes. So I asked her, I said, "Hey, are you going to put stuff in boxes?" And she's like, "Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to make it easy for you because I know not all the stuff is going to fit in the cart if you put it in boxes. I'm trying to make everything fit well for you, sir." And I was like, "Well, could you put it in boxes?" So she starts putting some stuff in a box, And it seemed like she wasn't going to go past that. And I said, "Hey, could you put some more stuff in boxes?" And, "Sir, I'm trying my best here. I'm like, I'm trying to like help you out." And I'm like, "Okay." I had literally until 2021. Okay, I have never seen this behavior in my life, and I've been going to Costco since the 1990s. Never once seen this behavior ever until this year. So I went to Costco a few days ago, and I'm thinking, okay, I hope that was just a fluke and that this doesn't happen again. So I go to Costco a few days ago, and it was worse. This guy, now this time, the guy asked me, "Do you want boxes?" And actually, no, wait, hold on. Wait, I had another freaking brain glitch. It's almost like my brain is stuck in the past. This guy actually never mentioned anything about boxes. I looked at this guy and I said, "Listen, could you please use a lot of boxes?" He said, "Yeah, no problem." I said, "Great." He gets one little box, puts some stuff in this little box, and proceeds to put everything else separately into the grocery cart. And I told him, I said, "Listen, can you put this stuff in boxes?" I'm like, I need more boxes than just one box. And he said, "Okay, fine." So he goes out, and there's this freaking mound of cardboard boxes that no one is using, which again, it's like, it just indicated to me that people aren't using boxes. What the hell's going on? So he comes back with like 3 boxes. He starts putting stuff in one box, and then out of nowhere, this soccer mom pops up, and she takes 2 of the boxes. At first, I thought she was an employee, and then I realized that she wasn't. She was just a soccer mom, and she looked pissed off. Now, I kind of don't blame her for taking the 2 boxes. Why? Because she probably didn't get any boxes. They probably never offered her any boxes. I don't think they offered her any boxes. I didn't see anything in boxes in her car. So she probably thought, okay, I'm going to take some boxes and box it myself. So this guy's looking for the boxes, and I said, "I think that lady took the boxes." I went myself, got 2 freaking boxes, went there, and I boxed it my freaking self. I said, "I'm just doing this myself." So I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's going on? You say, "Ted, it's not a big deal." Actually, it's not the end of the world, okay? It's not. But it is indicative of something. Because for decades, I have been going to Costco. 4 decades, I have been going to Costco. For over, I want to say 14, 15 years, I have been going to this one particular Costco. And for the first time, I'm seeing this behavior. What's happening? What's going on here? This is my theory. My theory is that COVID is going down and they're trying to go back to normal. So big companies, big businesses like Costco are hiring people, but there's a shortage of workers. There is a shortage of workers in the United States. Every single time there has been some kind of economic turmoil in the United States, what do we always hear? Americans can't find a job. Americans are suffering. They're going through a lot right now. They're suffering so much they can't find work. For the first time in my life, and I think maybe, I don't want to say for the first time in US history because I'm not entirely sure, but for the first time in my life, I am now hearing that businesses are having difficulty finding workers. I always hear about how workers are having difficulty finding work. But for the first time in my life, I am now hearing about companies having difficulty finding workers. For the first time, I'm hearing that work is having difficulty finding workers. It's crazy. Why are people so unwilling to get a job? Multiple factors. One is that a lot of people are dependent on the COVID handouts. Now, the handouts from the government, I think, were definitely helpful and necessary. But the problem is that a lot of people have become dependent on them. And they're like, well, I'm just getting all this money and I don't really care. That's one factor. And there are factors that people are supposedly afraid of getting infected, which I'm not entirely sure how I see that, because everybody is, I mean, for the most part, I'm seeing employees wearing masks. It's company policy for a lot of different businesses for employees to wear masks. I'm seeing this in grocery stores. I'm seeing this in home improvement stores. Employees are wearing masks. And as long as you wear that mask, the chances of you getting sick are very, very low, especially if you wear an N95. An N95 is pretty much hands down COVID proof. You're not going to get sick if you're wearing an N95. Um, I've been going to grocery stores during the pandemic. I wear an N95. At times I have worn those like regular dentist masks. But usually I'm wearing my N95. As long as I've had my mask, I've never gotten sick. Now I did get sick in the summer, and what happened was I think it was like late spring, early summer, and believe it or not, 2 days before I got symptoms, I went to the grocery store without a mask. Like the only time I got sick was 2 days after I went to the store and I didn't have a mask on. And yeah, and maybe I got COVID. I don't know. It was a nasty cold that lasted for maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But anyway, if you're wearing a mask, okay, you're not going to get sick. I know people who have regular jobs, they wear masks, they don't get sick. Um, so I just don't see where that's coming from. Um, and then there is more of a demand from workers. So in other words, businesses are begging people to work for them, and so workers are like, okay, you want my work, well, you're gonna have to give me fill in the blank. And a big demand for a lot of people who want to work is that the business, the location of the job is close to a daycare facility. Can I put my kid in daycare nearby? And their thing is, hey, if another lockdown happens, will will I uh will the business be near my house or something like that, right? It's like, is it going to be near a daycare center or whatever? People have all these demands, but I think that businesses are so thirsty for workers that they're literally hiring anybody. Now, Costco is a good job to have. It's probably the best uh, job you can get in a big box store in the United States, at least that I know of. For one, the last time I heard about pay from Costco, you get $10 an hour. Maybe it's more now. And they cover your medical benefits. They cover your medical. They give you medical benefits. And Costco is a place where you can work yourself up the ladder and you can get even more pay and actually get a decent job working at Costco. I knew a guy who years ago who worked at Costco, and he told me that it's great work. He told me, I'm getting paid $10 an hour. They cover my medical, and you work your way up the ladder. And he said, I love working at Costco so much that I actually will work on my days off just so I can get that extra money because the pay is so good. Costco used to be a difficult place to get a job. If you wanted to work at Costco, the resume that you signed was your first job interview. That was literally Costco's policy. I don't know what it is now, but over 10 years ago, it was that your resume was your first job interview. Once they called you up and asked you to come in for a job interview, that was your second job interview, which meant that more than likely you were going to get the position because they already liked what they read on the resume. Now, because businesses are so thirsty for workers, they're hiring anybody. That's my theory as to what's happening with Costco. They're hiring all this riffraff, people who would not have gotten the position before the whole situation caused by the pandemic, and that's what's going on. And I'm not getting my boxes, which sucks. Anyway, yeah, services decline. I think also overall, it's like the culture is changing a lot. The culture, I mean, it has already changed, but the culture is changing continuously and not for the best in many cases. For one thing, I remember before this whole thing happened, there were a lot of, I mean, all the employees that I saw in Costco were really good before what I'm seeing right now. And there's an old guy who works at Costco, and he's basically retired, but I think he works there for fun. I don't know, but he works really hard, and he will always make sure that your stuff is in boxes. And he's an old school guy. He's an old boomer. But all the employees there were really good, and now I'm seeing a decline. And it reminds me of what my dad told me years ago. He said that when he first came to America in the 1970s, he would go to McDonald's and the Big Mac was big. In the 1970s, the Big Mac was big. Now the Big Mac is not big. Why? Decline. Just decline. My dad would tell me that when you walk into a McDonald's in the 1970s, the service was impeccable. Now, service is meh, sometimes good, sometimes crap. Everything is declining. And so as the society decays and more, you're just seeing more and more riffraff working, and it's like they don't give a shit about the customer. They don't really respect the customer. And if you tell them like, "Hey, could you give me some freaking boxes?" It's all I'm asking for is do the policy of the company, which isn't really asking for anything. And I shouldn't have to ask the worker to do that. It's like they get mad at you, and you're the bad guy. Anyway, that's my thought for that. You guys just heard some theology. God bless.